We're going to go through the data now. I'm going to give you an update on the weekend. But in general, it's all good news. Everything about this weekend, it is a good news story. So I want to begin by thanking everybody in Rhode Island for following the rules and doing everything that you can do to keep yourselves and your families safe. The data is coming up on the screen. We'll begin, as we always do, with the data. And again, it's a good news story. We're seeing plateau, very stable situation, which is a great thing. We started our phase 1 a few weeks ago. We haven't seen any real spikes or increases, so everyone should be starting to feel a little bit more confident that we're learning to live with the virus. And it hasn't gone away, it's still here, but we're learning to live with it, and the data on your screen should give you some confidence that we're making good decisions and we're learning how to live with it safely. Having said that, you know, it's been a really difficult 10 weeks for everybody, and at this point, the cumulative loss of life in Rhode Island, we've lost more than 600 Rhode Islanders to the virus in the past since we've started, and I just want all of us to be mindful of that and realize that there's a lot of suffering right now. So I will say, as I say every day, just be kind, be patient, be empathetic, and be aware of the pain and suffering that's happening around you and around us in our community. Excuse me. So, as I said earlier, I want to thank you all for following the rules over the weekend. I have checked in throughout the weekend with the state police, with the Department of Business Regulation, with the Department of Environmental Management, and the good news is overwhelmingly people were out and about doing the right thing. You were out in the parks, but you were socially distanced. We didn't have to really break up any large congregations to speak of. You were out shopping, you were outside dining, but you were wearing your masks, you were keeping socially distant. A few folks went to the beach yesterday. Mother Nature helped us out a little. There were no crowds to speak of at the beach, but it was also not a 90-degree day, so it's allowing us to ease into our summer. I want to again thank the folks at DEM. We were prepared for thousands of people to show up at the beaches. Instead, hundreds of people showed up, but we were ready, and those of you who went to the beach had a good time and followed the rules. This weekend, DBR, Department of Business Regulation, surveyed over 200 businesses. They found 98% compliance with mask wearing among employees, 97% of mask wearing of customers. That's fantastic. That's essentially full compliance with mask wearing over the weekend at the couple of hundred businesses which they inspected. I want to point out that's better than it's ever been. That is better than last weekend, better than the weekend before. It means we're getting better at this. As I've said from the beginning, it's don't fight the rules, you know, follow them. Don't look for ways to get out from under pushing the limits. The better, we will all be better and safer, and more of us get back to work and out to dinner and shopping if we follow the rules. So I want to give a big thank you to all the business owners and all the employees who are following the rules. I appreciate it. I think it's fantastic. I also want to report that we now have over 35,000 people who have downloaded the Crush COVID app. If you haven't done it, please do it. It takes less than a minute. You can go to Google Play or the App Store and just download Crush COVID RI. We have more than 35,500 downloads so far. That's fantastic. Also, you're continuing to give us feedback, which is very helpful. We want to make the app better. This is a version 1. We'll be rolling out a version 2 in a few weeks. So you download it, use it, let us know what you like, and let us know how we can make it better. Some of you I know are still hesitant. You're afraid someone's going to get your data. You're afraid someone's going to be tracking you. Even though that is not true, I'm asking you to just try it. Just please download it, try it for a week or two, and decide if it's something that you can comply with. The more people we have using this app, the better we can be with contact tracing, and it'll just make everybody safer. I want to say a few words about mask wearing, about being outdoors, and about general compliance. So it is my intention, hope, and plan to start what we're calling Phase 2 next Monday on June 1st. That is going to be a reopening of almost every part of our economy. Restaurants, hairdressers, gyms, churches, really offices, more manufacturing, all of our beaches will open. It's going to be a big portion of our economy coming back online. Now, I am excited about that, and I am 100% confident that we are ready and we can do this safely, and I want to share that confidence with you. But it's going to be even more important to follow the rules. So we want you to go next week and get your hair cut and go out for dinner and reopen your business and go back to the gym and go to church or worship or mosque or synagogue. That is all good. That's where we want to get. But as we start to see the bigger reopening, I need you to follow the rules even more. Because what we're going to learn together is how to drop our kids off at childcare, allow our kids to go to summer camp, go to the beach on the weekends safely with the new rules. So what are they? Avoid large crowds. Avoid being close to people for a long period of time. We're learning more about the virus. We know so much more now than we did 10 weeks ago. And now we know big crowds are the problem. Close with somebody for a long period of time is a problem. Please do not go out if you're sick. If you have the sniffles, if you have the fever, if you have any symptoms, take a day off, stay home, get rid of your symptoms, call your doctor, get tested if you need to. Wash your hands constantly, and obey the social distancing. So I want to take a minute to talk about mask wearing. For many people, it still feels a little strange. I understand that. It is different. It is a little strange. However, it's effective. It's inexpensive. It's easy to follow. It's effective. And if everyone does it, like we did this weekend, it's going to allow us to continue reopening our economy. So if you're one of the folks who's just made it part of your new routine, thank you. If you're still struggling with it, I'm asking you to just make it a part of your life. You know, like you wouldn't think of leaving your house without your purse or your wallet or your phone or your keys. So do the same with your mask. You know, whatever routines you're in every day, add mask wearing and putting a mask in your pocket or your bag to that routine. That's what I'm asking you to do. Why is it such a big deal? You know, people have said to me, well, why do we have to do it, Governor? A simple cloth face covering won't protect us from getting sick. That's true. That is true. I don't want to create that false sense of confidence. A simple cloth face mask is designed to help you from spreading the virus, if you have it, to somebody you're near. So the analogy that I use is smoking. You know, we know smoking isn't healthy, but if you want to do it, that is your right. Except you can't smoke in most restaurants, you can't smoke on an airplane, there's a lot of places you can't smoke. Well, that's because secondhand smoke harms other people. The same is true for mask wearing. It's not going to protect you, but it's going to protect you from getting somebody else sick. And now, 10 weeks into this, and more than 10 weeks if you look at the global experience, the data is in. Mask wearing really works. And it particularly works if everyone in proximity to one another wears a mask. If one person does it, it's good. If everyone does it, it is very, very effective. So that's why we're going to continue to push the face cloth covering. Throughout this crisis, I have said, please be kind, please look out for your neighbors. This is the best example of that. This is the best example of that. Do your best to prevent someone you know or someone you work with or someone you near or someone you love from getting sick. Dr. Alexander Scott can go into the science of it, but the bottom line is that this disease is primarily spread when droplets from one person go to somebody else. Sneezing, coughing, talking, singing. And so if you have your mask on, it substantially reduces that risk, substantial. Relatedly, we also know that outside is safer. Thankfully, that coincides with the weather, and it's why we're encouraging folks to eat dinner outside if you can, be outside, keep the windows open. Being outside often makes it easier to social distance. Again, we really want to be avoiding being inside in close proximity to one another. By the way, if you find yourself, I'm going to keep saying this because I'm trying to make the rules simple to follow. If you find yourself anywhere, in the grocery store, at a shop, at a backyard barbecue, at church, close to people who aren't in your family, get away from them. You're doing something wrong. You don't have to remember a lot of rules. You have to remember mask wearing and just try to keep your distance from people. In any event, a new study shows that the droplets we expel when we talk can hang in the air for up to 8 minutes. So the longer we're inside without good air circulation, the more likely it is that the droplets could infect people who are near us, even if we're practicing proper social distancing. On the other hand, if we're in outside space, where there's constantly circulating with wind and fresh air, it can carry the droplets away and disperse into the air and substantially reduce the chance of infection through inhalation. So being outside is good. It's good for your mental health. It helps you to stay away from folks. But now the science is very clear. You're also much less likely to get infected when you're outside. So we want to encourage folks to spend time outside. Okay, I want to say a few more things on different topics. Distance learning. Summer is coming. This is the hardest time of year to keep kids focused anyway. You know, the sun comes out, the weather gets warm, spring fever sets in, and it's hard to keep the kids focused. We have to. They have a few more weeks of school, and we have to really, really put our back into it now to enable these kids to get as much learning as possible for these remaining weeks. And by the way, I know that's hard. Teachers are tired, kids are tired, parents are tired. It's been dragging on longer than any of us had hoped. The facts are we are still doing a good job with distance learning. Now, it's getting harder every day, but still we have 90+% participation rate. Teachers are continuing to be innovative. Students are continuing to push themselves to engage. And I appreciate that. I do appreciate that from all of you. Now we have to double down on our creativity. I'm asking you to put in one last push. Don't throw in the towel. Please do not just throw in the towel for these last few weeks of school. I know some of you have canceled exams for the high schoolers, and that's fine, but please find other ways, projects, engagement, papers, to keep these kids engaged. They deserve it, and there's just a few weeks to go, and I'm asking you to hang in there and put in a final push and run through the tape at the end of the year. By the way, many teachers are, in fact, doing this. In Jamestown and at the Rhode Island School for the Deaf, the teachers have been doing teacher car parades where they drive by students' houses with permission, just to say hello from a safe distance. I think that's fantastic. It's a way to maintain connection with your students. So if you're not doing that, maybe that's something you could consider. Just, it's so valuable for these kids to actually see their teacher, see that smile in person. So thank you for that innovation. Teachers in North Providence have been leading spirit days to keep their kids engaged in distance learning. I hear that's going very well, and it is keeping the kids engaged, so thank you. In Little Compton, educators put on a virtual talent show for their students. I think that's fantastic. Thank you. And teachers throughout schools in Providence have been sharing their best practices with other educators just to keep the creativity flowing. These are just a handful of examples. I've read through many of them. I chose to highlight a few. But the bottom line is this. This is unprecedented. And we want kids to be able to go back to school in the fall in their classrooms. But what we've been living through for the past couple of months, no one's ever done before. There's no rule book to follow, and it has been hard. And you've done a great job. 98%, of students engaged. Most students, nearly every student having Wi-Fi. Teachers coming up every day with more creative ways to do it. Please just ask yourself today, if you're a parent, if you're a teacher, if you're a principal, if you're a student, ask yourself, what can I do to really get the most out of these last couple of weeks? How can I change what I'm doing? How can I have a little more energy? How can I engage a little bit more? Let's finish strong together. We started this together. We were the first state in the country to do this. We are among the most successful states with distance learning. Let's finish what we started together and then go off and have an amazing, fun summer. Finally, I also want to take a moment today to honor National Foster Care Month. I'm joined here today with Secretary Wilma Zeta-Jones. National Foster Care Month is celebrated every May, and it's to recognize and thank our foster parents throughout Rhode Island who have opened their homes and their hearts and welcomed these amazing, wonderful kids into their families. Today in Rhode Island, we have almost 1,600 foster care children in loving homes, 200 of whom were placed just this past year. That's fantastic. We've made a huge effort in the past 24 months to increase the number of foster families and children we could place into foster families. Every kid deserves the opportunity to live in a loving family, in a home with a loving family. So I want to say thank you to the foster parents who are out there. Thank you for doing this. This time has been filled with anxiety, financial hardship, difficulty, mental illness for everyone. That is often especially true for those of you who have taken in a foster child or two. Additional burdens and trauma right now. Because of you, because of your love, because of your generosity, these kids are better off. And I want to thank you for doing that. And I wanted to today just take a moment to recognize May as Foster Parent Month and to thank you for what you're doing to make Rhode Island stronger. I also want to take a minute to reach out to everyone in Rhode Island to ask if you might consider becoming a foster parent. We need you. These kids need you. We know it works. And now more than ever, we could use your help. If you're at all interested in what I'm saying, if it's at all intriguing to you, if you think you might have just a little space in your family, in your home, in your heart to give life to a youngster, I want you to visit the DCYF website, dcyf.ri.gov, and just learn about it. Learn about what it is like to be a foster parent. We are making it easier to become certified. We're making it easier for the whole process. And I'd just like to ask you to think about it because we have a need, and I know there's a lot of you out there who have a lot of love to give. Finally, we have a lot of work to do this week to get ready for the June 1st Phase 2. Hopefully you've seen over the weekend we worked really hard to get everything up, get most everything up online on the website. So there are specific detailed guidelines for restaurants, salons, gyms, offices, churches, synagogues, houses of worship. And we're going to continue to update that this week, but I would encourage everybody to go online and check out those details. I hope they are helpful for you. Take this week to get yourselves organized, figure out what your business needs, and let us know if we can help you. 521-HELP is the Commerce website, 521-HELP. Go to the Commerce website, call Commerce, reopeningri.com. We want to do everything we can to help you get your business open. To that point, this week, Commerce is putting together and is hosting a series of Facebook town halls for specific business owners. These town halls have been a fantastic way for us to hear for the community. We had one for hairdressers and barbers, and thousands of people called in. So this week, Commerce is hosting specific sessions for business, general businesses and offices, one for gyms, one for restaurants, and one for personal services. You could go to the Commerce Facebook page to see a complete listing of these events and these times. I would encourage you to do that. You know, if you're a business owner who's anxious to get back to business next week, and I would encourage you to do that, figure out when the town hall is for your business, and if you can, tune in. It'll help us get it right. If we hear from you, it'll help us get it right. And I think it'll help you. We've heard from a lot of businesses like, oh, that helped me a lot to learn how I can get back into business.